punch the like button. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Money Badger channel, and for this week's stock pick of the week, I'm going to be talking about a stock and company that I believe provides a lot of diversification in and of itself, and that is Costco. While Costco's price today is over $300, I'm going to still show you the reasons why I believe that it's an important addition to your portfolio. And as always, guys, if you like the content I'm putting out on this channel, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the like button on this video. So, let's get into it. For those of you that are not familiar with Costco, it is a multinational corporation that operates members-only warehouse clubs. And unlike its main competitors like Walmart and Target, whose main source of revenue is shelf space purchases, the way that Costco makes its revenue is through its annual membership fees. And there are different tiers to the membership fees, but even through the basic annual membership fees, you get a vast array of benefits. First off, you get competitive pricing on everything within the warehouse. Things like food, clothing, ingredients, pharmaceuticals, all the way up to things like TVs, refrigerators, or even outdoor patio furniture. And the benefits don't stop there. You have things like eye care, car service and maintenance, access to their low-priced gas pumps, and one of the things that I personally love about Costco, the food court. Costco also has a section called Costco Travel, which through them you're able to get really good deals on travel-related things like cruises, Disney World trips, things like that. In addition, Costco has a relationship with Citibank for their own credit card, which provides very competitive benefits when you look at credit cards, things like 4% on the gas pump and other things that you can see here. And so through providing all of these services, Costco now has not just been known to be the shopping place, but also a place where you can go to satisfy a lot of your daily needs. And from a stock perspective, we really like this because, like I said at the beginning, it provides diversification within the stock. You expose yourself a little bit to the downstream section of the energy sector through their gas pumps. You expose yourself to the car industry through their car maintenance. You expose yourself a little bit to the healthcare sector through their pharmaceuticals and eye care, things like that. You expose yourself to the travel and entertainment sector through Costco Travel, and expose yourself to the finance industry when it comes to their credit cards. It goes without saying that a lot of the companies in the retail sector had a lot of challenges to deal with over the last few months. By and large, the biggest challenge is how to make people comfortable coming back into the door. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that Costco, because they provide food and other essential things, they didn't have to shut down. But with that comes the fact that they had to learn how to overcome these challenges very quickly. And Costco was praised for its reaction and proactiveness in order to figure out how to keep people safe while they can still get the essentials. At the very beginning, they were very intentional on people having masks on, people staying 6 feet apart, having a certain amount of people in the store at the time. They were very intentional on how people maneuvered through the warehouse. And of course, when there were shortages like toilet paper and water, they ensured that a lot of people were not taking too much of it for their own good. And through all these safety measures, people were still comfortable going to Costco to get their essentials like food, water, and all that. And now, since we're starting to reopen, we are seeing that Costco has done incredibly well during the pandemic. Recently, in the month of May, not only have we seen that their sales in the warehouse surged, we see from their earnings report that happened at the end of May that their online service and their online shopping doubled. And in my opinion, when you actually look at Costco Travel, because they're so good at being able to find reasonable deals for everybody, a lot of people are going to go to Costco in order to do a lot of their traveling. I say that because I was actually recently at Costco and I saw in their travel flyer section, Disney World flyers were actually completely gone. Makes you wonder how well Disney's going to do. So that's a little bit about Costco, the company, and where they're at today. Now let's talk about the stock. And as always, guys, I like to disclose 3 things. 1, these stock picks are my opinions. 2, you should always diversify within your portfolio. And 3, be diligent in that portfolio so it's doing exactly what you want it to do. So as you can see, Costco's stock ticker is COST, or cost, and their price today is $311.17. Like I said at the beginning, the Costco stock today is a very pricey one, over $300, but from a driver perspective, their drivers for growth are certainly there, especially when we think about the recovery in the market, as well as the space that they're in general. Looking year to date, you can see that they definitely had a lot of volatility in their stock. There was a huge dip during the beginning of March, but you can see it recovered, then it dropped, and it recovered. But the reality is that it didn't stay where it was. In fact, where it's at today, it is now somewhat stabilized in its volatility, and it's only 5% off of its high. Costco and their earnings has been able to stay relatively close to where those expectations have been in the last few quarters. Now, obviously, Q3, the more recent one, is one where they weren't able to beat their earnings when it comes to earnings per share. But one thing you don't see on here is that they actually beat the expectation in gross sales. They actually grew in gross sales by about 9%. This a lot was driven by the international growth that they saw, which was almost 18% in gross sales. And diving a little further into that, the reason why they had such good gross sales is because their online sales increased by 108%. Will they be able to hit analysts' expectations for next quarter? We'll have to wait and see. A lot of that depends on the pandemic. But it is nice to know that a lot of analysts are optimistic about Costco. Growth and profit margin for Costco is very strong. Projected earnings per share growth for this year versus next year is in the 70th percentile, where the retailing on average is 7.78, but Costco is at 10.36, so that implies that there's going to be a little bit more growth for the Costco within the space it's in. The return on equity and return on investment is done very well for investors. And if you know me by now, you know that I am a very limit your debt kind of guy. So it's really good to see that their long-term debt to equity, long-term debt to capital is really low relative to the average retail sector. One very interesting to note about Costco is their dividend. The most recent dividend, which is the highest it's been, was announced in the thick of the pandemic, the middle of April. So this implies that Costco was still willing to provide value to investors despite everything going on in the pandemic, which, hey, is good for us. And Wall Street and Main Street agree. Costco did a fantastic job making sure that customers were safe during the pandemic, and they're going to do really well as we continue to have recovery in the economy. And guys, there's nothing much more I can say about Costco that's not really just reiterating everything I've said. They did really well during the pandemic. They're going to continue to capitalize on the recovery, and because of its diversification within and of itself, I think it is a good stock to have in your portfolio. My recommendation is a buy and hold for long term for Costco. You're not going to see a huge pop like what you see sometimes in pharmaceutical companies that just have a new drug, which, by the way, we'll talk about Moderna eventually, but Costco is one that provides value long term. So guys, that's it for the stock pick of the week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you have any thoughts or questions about Costco or the retail sector in general, leave some comments down below and I'm happy to talk with you about it. And as always, guys, if you like the content I'm putting out on this channel, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the like button on this video. Punch the like button. And for those of you that have already subscribed and liked the video, hopefully you're staying safe and healthy. Badger out.